Well, potentially seismic changes for the US-South Africa relationship. This bill is recommending a comprehensive review of the bilateral relationship and accusing South Africa of brazenly abandoning the relationship with the US and aligning with terrorist organisations. It was suggested by Congressman Ronnie Jackson, who celebrated Tuesday's victory of it passing through the committee hearing by saying the days of allowing our so-called allies to walk all over us are over. The US government could potentially determine if senior government officials and ANC leaders in South Africa have been involved in corruption and human rights abuses. And if they determine so, they would then impose sanctions on certain individuals, and that would include travel bans and asset freezes. At heart, really, the US is unhappy that South Africa has taken Israel to the International Criminal Court over war crimes and accused it of genocide for its involvement in Gaza. The US is also angry that South Africa really is siding with the Palestinian people against the US ally Israel. They're also saying that South Africa has undermined US national security interests. They've given the example of carrying out joint military drills with Russia. Well, at Tuesday's hearing, Brian Mast, the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee, he said in support of the bill that this was not about severing ties with South Africa, but rather resetting expectations that the US has. Democrats, though, pushed back. Gregory Meeks said that President Trump had disproportionately targeted South Africa and was trying to embarrass President Cyril Ramaphosa. Now, it still has a way to go. Tuesday's hearing was called a committee markup. It was in the House Foreign Affairs Committee. They voted to move it forward, which means at some point the full House of Representatives will vote on this. It's unclear when it will happen. They're now on recess until September. If it's approved by the House, it'll move on to the Senate and land on the president's desk for approval. And remember, Republicans hold a slim majority in both the House and the Senate. The very fact, though, really, that this is even being considered could suggest a monumental shift in the way that the US deals with South Africa, a long-term ally. That relationship with this could change dramatically. Nick Harper, SABC News, Washington.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 10 Minutes with Kuhle. I'm your host, Kuhle Maseko, this is where we expose the rot, the clownery, the Marxist madness, one truth bomb at a time. Today's episode, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It's about violence. It's about, this kill the Boer chant. It's about farm murders. The list is long. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think the best place to start is, is this race baiting that is going on. And yes, that's obviously the EFF's obsession, including the ANC's obsession with bullying white people into oblivion, right?
Shoot to kill. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa.
Now, you've probably seen the Bureau's latest expose, and the Bureau, I'm referring to the United States Department of Human Rights and Land, blah, 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 blah. I'll put up the image right here for you to read what they've actually done. So now, if not, please pause this and go and watch Willem Pizza. He does explain it very well, and then come back. So EFF leaders, yes, the ones who scream about human rights and equality, were caught on camera assaulting white South Africans. In what world do we call that? Liberation.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, we have not called for the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't guarantee the future.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter, they freak out. It sounds like a genocidal call.
Cry babies. Cry babies.
I'm not calling for the slaughter of white people, at least for now.
I can't give a guarantee of the future, especially when things are going the way they are.
Subtext.
Especially if things are going the way they are, there will be a revolution in this country, I can tell you now. There will be an unled revolution. An unled revolution is the highest form of anarchy.
One leader was seen, grabbing a white farmer, accusing him of stealing land, while others were shouting, "One settler, one bullet."
What do you make of the one settler, one bullet policy as a way forward? Thank you very much.
The Honourable the Minister.
One settler, one bullet is an old slogan of the PAC. It is the slogan that was used at that time by APLA forces. It is the slogan that was used to make sure that we save rounds. Each one gets his own round. Otherwise, it is not the slogan that is used today, because we are not fighting at all. And by the way, Comrade Ndozi, leave PAC affairs to PAC members. Thank you.
Now, outside a high school in Mpumalanga, EFF members reportedly blocked white students from entering, calling for a black-only education zone. Yes, you heard right. The same party that claims to fight apartheid now wants to bring back racial segregation, as long as they're the ones in charge this time. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to say, but Kuhle, that's not the title of the video. Why are you speaking about this? Now, why I'm speaking about this is that's because that's what the US Bureau came to investigate in South Africa, right? They came here and they said, farm murders are not a normal crime. They should not be classified as normal crime. So here's the twisted logic of South Africa, right? In 2025, if you're white, you're guilty by pigmentation. The EFF, including the ANC, has turned into anti-white organizations. They've turned into white hate political theater, and it's getting violent. Let's ask the obvious. If DA members beat black people on camera, would the media bury it? The answer is no. Would Julius Malema be silent if a white group called for the removal of black kids from schools? No. Would Julius Malema be silent if the farmers being killed in the majority were black? No. So you already know the answer. Meanwhile, EFF members continue to undermine our farmers, incite violence, and threaten the constitutional right to freedom of speech, as well as to living freely and private property. And nobody in government blinks. Well, I don't think Ramaphosa can blink with those big eyes. Because when it's whites being targeted, the silence is deafening. So we've seen videos of EFF thugs targeting farms. Why, you ask? They target them because, well, I don't think they've got anything better to do or any other way of staying relevant in society. Ladies and gentlemen, the big question is, where is the ANC? Now, one of the big important things is Ramaphosa has been so silent about the farm murders, right? They asked him about the tariffs, asked him about the farm murders recently on SABC. He didn't have much to say. He just said, classical thing of looking shocked and all that stuff. So one must not forget, tomorrow is the day where the South African economy is going to face a tough time. That's because those tariffs are coming in hard, baby. They are coming in at 30% for countries that are like us, and as well as 10% for BRICS-aligned nations, which is ourselves, which means we could potentially be at 40%. Now, our predictions are South Africa's GDP could contract by 1%. There could be about 100,000 jobs lost, citrus, platinum, steel, aluminium sectors of the economy are going to struggle, including the wine industry. But don't worry, Ramaphosa is not that worried. He believes that China's here to save us, Russia's here to save us, even though their economies are in deep recession. Now, guess what? US human rights groups are documenting racial violence in South Africa. Some reports even say Washington is quietly investigating EFF-linked racial hate as a possible international rights issue. Australia's conservative MPs, as discussed yesterday, are calling for Afrikaner refugee status in Australia. Yes, refugees, because life for some white South Africans is starting to look like persecution. We've gone from Mandela's dream to Malema's nightmare. And if the world isn't careful, South Africa might become the Zimbabwe of the South. We went from Nkandla to Palapala to now Waterfall and Constantia. The drama just keeps on unfolding, and nobody's ready to.
It's the culmination of days of tension as supporters of the economic freedom fighters confront white farmers in Senekal in the Free State province. The fighters, as they call themselves, say they're here to defend state institutions and democracy, but some of their supporters threw rocks and blocked the road. Last week, white farmers stormed the Senekal Magistrates Court as two black men appeared for the murder of white farm manager Brendan Horner. They damaged...
Stop it. Take a look at these stats and tell me, what do you think? So here's my message to white South Africans. You can't hide behind the suburbs. You can't pretend your silence will save you. You either speak up now or your children will pay the price. We must call this what it is, a racially motivated political campaign disguised as revolution. And it's high time that the EFF, including the ANC, pay for all of this drama. You will remember that when Kill the Boer happened, the song at the EFF's 10th anniversary, less than 24 hours after that singing, a farm murder had occurred. And the funny thing about all these farm murders is, upon the US Bureau's investigation, they stated that there was actually zero theft, that it was just murders, which is just hate. How unfortunate. And to the EFF, if you're watching this, no, you're not the new freedom fighters. You're the new oppressors wearing red berets instead of brown boots and orange overalls. The world is watching. Sanctions are coming, and evidence is stacking up. Ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that I can guarantee you is I will always be here to fight for you. I will fight for what's right. I will stand for what's right, because I am a conservative. I am a right-wing. I believe in the Judeo-Christian, and I believe in a world that you and I can both live freely together. I will share more on the story after I've completed a few meetings. If you do watch 10 Minutes with Kuhle, you will know that I've got good, relations with multiple stakeholders. And I would like to give you a deep analysis into the story later on this week. I just need to finalize a couple of things before sharing more on the story. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to support the work that we do here, because we do need your support all the way, please do consider signing up for membership. It's as affordable as 20 rand. Don't forget, you can buy us a coffee here at 10 Minutes with Kuhle by sending us a super chat. You can also support the work we do by just liking and sharing this video. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been 10 Minutes with Kuhle. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, and God bless.
Let's head overseas now, where South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has a new law allowing land seizures by the state without compensation if the government determines it is, quote-unquote, just and equitable and in the public interest to do so. Now, the reasons for nil compensation can vary from abandonment or disuse to health and safety concerns or quote-unquote public interest, which could be basically anything the government of the day thought was good. They've been pushing for this for 5 years. They've had lengthy public consultation processes, and it repeals the Expropriation Act of 1975, which, much like compulsory acquisition here, said you had to be compensated if the government took your land. Now, some members of the South African government are saying they're going to challenge the legality of all of this, Evelyn. But the idea that the government could come in for any reason it deems to be in the public interest and take your land away for zilch is insane.
Oh, it is, but this is the future. Like, I know this is like from one extreme to another, but like, think about what we're doing in our country with the Indigenous. Like, we continually are giving back land under the guise of, you know, we're the oppressors and we took this, we colonised. But this is exactly how it started in South Africa. And so, like, I think we've got to be really careful and see this as heed this as a warning. I mean, look at Zimbabwe. This happened in Zimbabwe. This is going to be Zimbabwe 2.0. There's going to be food shortages. There's going to be all kinds of poverty. And then they're going to be asking for the people that they kicked out of their country to come back and help them, essentially. It's really sad. I have some friends in South Africa. I've interviewed some farmers over there who are massively being genocided over. Like, there's no other word for it. And it's really scary because some of these farms have been in families for 400 and something years. It's not like they've walked in there in the last, 50 odd modern years. Like, these have been generational farms. And now the government can essentially come in and say, you know what, because you're a white farmer in South Africa, we're going to take this land back because it's not benefiting our country to have you here anymore. Very scary.
And that'll be the public interest argument. You know, we had apartheid, which was awful, and then the pendulum seems to have gone completely the other way.